280 Pros, by the way. I fucking love them. Anyway, we're going to talk about an amplifier now that's made its rounds at Can Jam and other various shows, which will no longer be held because it's 2020, year of the flu, and, or year of the virus, I guess. This is made by Auris, and that's all you're going to get from me because the actual name of the amp is not in English. Read the title of the video. So you're not seeing much from this angle. I'm sure you've seen the thumbnail of this video and you clicked on it, but you don't see the, oh, Jesus. It's a very ingenious design because it's not very different, but it's very different. I mean, pretend these pieces of wood aren't here, and this isn't an actual headphone stand complete with notches for your headphone to plug into. So take that away. We're left with a metal box, you know, yay big, however big yay is. And on top of that metal box is 3 tubes. Okay, so it's a tube amp. It's a straight, legit tube amp. It weighs a fucking lot, I want to point out. This metal base probably attributes to a lot of that. It's got a solid steel base, rubber feet, 2 essentially cutting boards on the side, which are very, very nice, and it should be for the price. This is Platinum Edition, $1,700 for this. But it does have the added benefit of you no longer need to buy a yoga block. Links to yoga blocks in the description. You don't want to get a 2-pack yoga blocks because you already got a headphone stand. Let's put the 280 Pros back on it. Oh, yeah. Oh, fuck. This is genius. So what it is a DAC amp combo. It's a tube amp, so it's running around 0.9 of a watt, which for the price means it's a little less. Well, actually, it's a lot less than the Dragon Inspire I did. It's about the same price as the Dragon Inspire, just a lot less power. But this isn't about power. This is about ability. And this, because here's the thing, the Dragon Inspire will probably scare any woman you show it to. It's tubes, they're hot, ew, bad. This, based on solely how it looks, should sell more. I'm gonna try to lean it over. So, metal plate, wood side, thick. I'd say it's a little 9/16 of an inch. I know I just gave everyone in Europe a heart attack. I don't know, what is that, 11, 12 millimeters? 12 millimeter thick wood, ooh. Bridges up here, just to keep it all straight. You don't see any hardware to fasten it, so I actually don't know how they fasten it, which is interesting. I have to show you the back, but let me finish off the, there is a nice warmth right here, because they have vent holes here. You can see where my fingers go, to let the tubes breathe, because they are in a sort of constricted space. The added benefit, like I was saying before when I said the words added benefit, is they warm up your headphones. Now, a lot of people don't like when their headphones get hot, but let me tell you a secret. These Neumanns, my lovely, amazing, tube-loving Neumann NDH20s, their pads are made of memory foam, a very, very stiff memory foam. And let me tell you what happens when they get cold, because I have them usually over there next to the air conditioner, so it's drafty. Well, I put them on the other day, and it felt like I was pushing just rocks against my head. So I put them on this amp. Just put them right there. I actually had them up here, but I mean, you can just put them down, and the warmth radiates down to warm up your memory foam pads and allow them to be squishy. Oh, so nice. Plus, it's not exactly summer, so I'm like, anything warm on my face is great. Maybe not something you're interested in, but may have turned the tides for me. I'm going to look into making USB warmed headphone blocks now. Front. Oh, I'm going to lift it up. 1/4 inch, so it's not balanced. Again, Dragon Inspire balanced, Dragon Inspire more power. This, less power, unbalanced, but okay. 1/4 inch jack. You have a switch here called source. This is A and D. You could make up what those mean. It means analog and digital. And you have impedance switching for high and low. And basically, from what I can interpret from the website and the menu and the manual, is they keep mentioning over and over again some planar headphones, because you're not supposed to tube a planar without a specific type of amp, etc., etc., etc. They basically say if you have a planar, put it on low, because planars are usually under, I think they said between 20 and 60 hertz. It was a weird statement because it was like between 20 and 80 hertz. You want to be, or 20 ohms, you want low impedance. And then 150 and over, you want high. So there's like a gap. But I've been using them according to that methodology if there is a low impedance headphone. And these, I think, are 32. I know these are 150. I run these on high impedance and these on low impedance. And there is a definite, I wouldn't even call it a volume change because it doesn't make any sense. When you put it on high, it gets lower. But it keeps distortion from happening. Again, we're only talking about less than a watt. So you plug your headphone in, whichever headphone you'd like. You set it to L or H, depending on what you'd like. You set it to your inputs. Now, the back of this unit, and I'm going to try to tilt this without destroying my entire desk. Here we go. Back of this unit consists of a power umbilical. We'll get to that, because that's a whole fucking other thing. A USB, a single USB, and this is not the cable it comes with. This is one of my blue cables that I get from like printers. We have RCA input, which I'm coming off the Geshelli Labs Enog 2, linked in the description, because that's my DAC of choice. Look at that, it stays on its own. Of course, it's crushing the headphone connector. That's why it stayed on its own. And then RCA outputs, because it does have a pre-out, which we're going to take our headphone, plug it into this, and we're going to take our headphone, plug it into that 789 on the right. We're going to judge it from there. Putting this back down. So the only digital input is a USB. And you need to install drivers. Even in Windows 10, it was like, nope. How to install drivers to get Windows 10 to recognize it. This laptop is plugged into a USB. It's what's playing Konosuba right now. We plug it back in and not crush the wire. I'll shuffle it around. Geschaffelstein, California. That's a quality song. Now, on low impedance, not gain, not high-low gain, impedance we're matching here. I could die with these at 11 o'clock. So, I'm being real cautious too, because there is a circuit trip in the power supply. It's got a 5-pin connector, the umbilical that comes over. I'll pull that thing out. And I had pulled out a headphone before, and I think I left it sit on the contacts too long. It detected as a short, and literally that one click. Are you safe? Click. Okay, and then I put them back on. So very good. That's good design when something actually protects itself. You should always lower it down. The on-off switch, by the way. Oh, I did it. Okay, taking my headphones off. I want to listen to music, but I can't now. The off switch is this. You hear that go click? I'm going to lower that down. Lights up. That clicks. This lights up, still blinking. We're still warming up the tubes, There's a little orange blinking LED. That's all you get. Thank God it doesn't turn white or blue. It's just orange, like a tube glow. Thank you. So it's very strange to have, I know why they did it. I know why they did this. Here, I'm going to pull it over now. Get over here. This is your power brick. And the word brick is not used lightly. This thing is fucking heavy. And we've got 2 lights here. Low voltage, high voltage. It's in a massive aluminum case, which is beautifully made, by the way. I want to point that out. This thing is warm. This is a hand warmer extraordinaire. And if I can actually get to the other side of it, you see our 110 input, our power switch here, which doesn't light up. Even though it's one of those clear plastic ones, it doesn't actually light up to indicate on or off. I guess those are supposed to be the indicators, but they're on the other side. And then you get the umbilical that's attached permanently that comes out. And it's about 5 feet, 4.5 feet. It's this big. It's that many bigs. And it goes into, and I'll shut this off for a second, a plug that looks like a medical connector with 5 pins, and then a sleeve, a spring-loaded sleeve, sort of like a hose connector you'd use in a shop. Okay. I don't mind this. You don't have to ever enter. I like shutting this off because it stays a little warm. And I'd probably recommend you do that. But you don't have to. If you just wanted to see, high voltage, low voltage are now currently disabled. I'm going to try to give this thing the reach around. Oh, here we go. Boom. We're plugged in, but the switch is off. The actual amp power off is the volume knob. Back to why I was freaking out before. It goes lower, lower, lower. And as soon as you go past the point of low volume to where it lifts the power off, the DAC dies and you get an error message. So turned it on. It's blinking. High voltage is clicked on there. We're blinking. We're blinking. 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 Clicks again. Still blinking. Clicks. Okay. That's the process of a good amplifier turning on and telling you, I'm not ready yet. It's a diva, really. So now, if I hit enter here, put this on. Geschaffelstein, A. Delph, A. something else. George Harrison, My Sweet Lord, is now playing. And at 9 o'clock, it's quiet volume. And at 11 o'clock, on this headphone, wait. Oh, I put on high gain. It got a little louder. So I'm not concerned about it not being able to power your headphones. You pick the right impedance and you're great. The thing that concerns me is a slightly stupid one. If you're using this off the DAC, which I'm assuming you're buying it to use it with the DAC, you have to be real careful with the volume because you have it up, and if you decide to just lower it, you get about 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock. From 9 to 8 is pretty much silent. But if you even touch past that, I haven't clicked it off yet. That's clicked off. We've terminated Wasapi session because it literally just it lifts power off the unit. The DAC goes to sleep, or the DAC disappears. The computer goes, ah, and you're stuck like this. And this will click off. So that'll cool off now. But, so that's my only thing is once you go to lower the volume, you got to be real careful not to lower it too violently. Or you'll just disconnect the DAC, and then you're going to be stuck with broken. Well, I'm using Wasapi, obviously. If you're on direct sound, it'll just disappear, switch to the old device, and come back. It's one of the reasons I like fiber optic. Because the computer will be outputting fiber optic, or whatever's outputting fiber optic just outputs fiber optic. It doesn't know what's on the other end of it. It's one of those things. It's one of those things that I think as long as the problem is that this is controlling this power brick, because most DACs should just run constantly because they're just a little DAC. Just let it run. Let it never disappear. But this one does disappear. So that's the one major negative is just that. If that doesn't bother you, you're fine. Also, the DAC does disappear when you switch from digital to analog. You get the error message. But now we're listening to Pink Floyd. So, I mean, that's the greatest news of our lives. And now we could actually talk about how this amp sounds. It's $1,700. And if half of that was how it looked, I'd say that's worth it. Which makes the other half of it, let's do the math, that's $750, right? No, that'd be 15, 17,000. I can't math right now. 850? Does it sound like an 800? If half of this was just looks, the other half has to be sound. Does this sound as good as an $850 tube amp? Well, I just did a couple hybrid tube amps. The Liquid Platinum, and I whipped out the TA30. And the TA30, my God, and the Liquid Platinum, my fucking God, are both way more powerful than this. But they're not a true tube amp. They are a hybrid, which means they have a solid state amp and they sort of tickle its balls with some tubes, and it's like, oh, that's excellent. I love the TA30. I was okay with the Liquid Platinum. This, if we're assuming it's the same cost, sounds better. It's a lot of torr, Roger sort of sound. It's a clean tube. It's a quality tube too, because you turn this volume up, as much as I complain about it, you don't get that like left-right channel separation you get with a lot of analog pots. God, I love my Neumanns. Did I ever mention I love my Neumanns? Why am I putting it on the table when I could do that? Let's test the pre-out. I'm going to plug in these to these. So I currently have these plugged in, I think. Yes, once I unplug the headphone, now this is acting as a preamp to this. So these 280 Pros, or which could be a set of studio monitors or a power amplifier for some real, actual speakers, you can now control with this as long as you unplug your headphones. I usually dock points for not having like a switch so that you can leave everything plugged in. I'm not a big fan of unplugging things to activate other inputs or outputs. But I think 2 switches is plenty for the front of this. It's just from a looks standpoint. Don't fucking touch it. Don't touch it. You do have to remember, though, to lower your volume before you plugged your other thing back in, because it will just be on that volume. Actually, I'm going to put that back in. Hold on. I was just checking. That was the only thing I didn't check was, does the impedance switch affect the output? And it does. So you got way more output range when you put that on high impedance for the pre-out. Now keep in mind, we are still running off the analog, which is now playing Soundgarden, now playing Epic Score, now playing Konosuba. Yes, we're getting I could see it all coming together. Okay, now one of the wonderful things about my desk, did I tell you how wonderful my desk is? It's like Santa Claus brought it to me. Is the push button on the top of the 789 is the switch between its XLR input and its RCA input. And this is currently the RCA input being fed from that Geshelli Labs. And when I do that, now it's the RCA, and then I push it in. Now it's getting the XLRs directly from that same Geshelli Lab DAC. So we're comparing the same DAC, but one's going through this and then into it, and the other one is going direct. And I can hear a difference. It's a little bit softer. It's a little bit, I don't want to say wider. I don't think it adds any width, but it definitely changes the tonality of it. So that's all I ask for in a tube. Please, all I need you to do, tube, is make it not sound like a solid state. Now, this is a pricey motherfucker to do that with, but the wife, woman, girlfriend, sex slave, lady of the night acceptance factor of this beautiful thing, like you could honestly probably get away with buying like a set of auteurs and stick the wood on that and the wood on this and just putting it in your house like next to a lamp from IKEA, and you are a classy bitch. You're a catch now. It's no longer like, oh, that guy with the Bud Light sign on his wall. You could have a Bud Light sign and neon above this, and somehow you still have not left the classiness of the world. I love this amplifier. I should probably also talk to you about, now that I'll tell you about how it sounds, maybe, I don't know, you're spending the money. Honestly, I would say, and I'm not joking here, 50% of the people who buy this amp buy it for the looks, period. They don't care how it sounds. But I'm thankfully here to tell you, yeah, it sounds fucking good too. It sounds tubey. There's detail. The bass doesn't get bloated. I mean, I'm sure you could swap out these tubes if you really felt like it. You wanted to reach in here. I don't actually know how they recommend, like, getting in here to change these tubes, because it is, I have, but you could legitimately change them if you wanted to. Switching back to the digital input, which takes a second. I don't think it happens immediately. Oh, that wasn't bad. That was pretty fast. No more Geschaffelstein. That's too French. Oh, I didn't say where this is made. This is made in Serbia. This is a Serbian unit, and I know that because when they first showed up at CanJam, it was like 2 years ago, and the people that were there were amazing. But the actual, like, here's the page for the amp, and they show different finishes of wood. But if you go back to the list of amplifiers, here, where is it? Products. Look, like, what? I'm not joking. Those tube amps are wrapped in leather. So that wood, top and bottom, wrapped in leather with they're the prettiest amplifiers. They just scream, touch me, please. This is their newest one. It's the Fortissimo. Oh, I want to read more. They don't have very good pictures in their site. That's the one thing oh, that's not bad. Like, oh God, it's a speaker amp. I need it. It's got a VU meter and it's got 8 tubes. This is the cheapest thing they sell. Everything else they sell is insanely expensive. So I'm just like, please let me try at least your cheapest thing. And you don't feel like it's their cheapest thing. This feels like the top of the line of whatever this company makes. And this is nowhere near it. And it sounds this good. What am I listening to? Creepy Autograph, Back Alley from I Love Techno 2013. I wonder how this new GoPro is handling it. If you haven't noticed, the GoPro might have slightly changed in your mind. No, I'm not going to bring that up. I can't do anything but praise this, except for tell you to warn you about the volume knob. And to tell you that if you're looking at tube amps in the $1,000 plus range, Zio's got you covered now, buddies. I mean, we've got the Tor Balance for $900, which is a little bit more than half, like 60% of the cost of this. And that's made of wood, but this is like a whole nother level of design. Fucking for the design alone, I shouldn't even have to make this review. Do you see it? I see it. The giant, this you could hide on the floor if you feel like it. I'm an equipment guy, in case you haven't noticed. One of the problems with being an audiophile is you start to fall in love with equipment more than like the sound. And I'm probably halfway there where I'm just like, oh God, German tube DAC amps and magic FPGA DACs. And then here's the T830. Oh God. So then like music comes along and I'm like, oh yeah, this song's good. This is fetish porn for me. I think it's one of the most unique tube amps you can personally buy. Right now, 2020, this is it. It feels like if you've been working up from Dark Voice to Tor to 1,700 other different DIY kits. This is when you get when you're just done with all that and you just want a good tube amp. You just want a good tube amp. It doesn't have to be a great tube amp. It doesn't have to do wanky things with the sound. It's only got 3 tubes. They're not even that large. But the warmth that this thing throws out of it, both physically and emotionally, emotional warmth comes in for free. I have to give it the Reco. I'm hoping they agree to send me some of the larger stuff, although I think I'd have to clean off a lot of area. Because that is small compared to some of the giant amps they have. When you wrap something in leather, you tend to have to make it a little bit bigger. I'm not saying the name of it, but I love this thing. Auris can come to my house and fuck my sister. Sorry, M. Cooks. I'm going to go back to listening now. Oh, I know what you're asking. You're asking, Zeos, this is a tube amp review. Why have you not taken out? I love how I have it on the angle, too. That's still playing because I unplugged that, so I'm going to shut that off. Why have you not brought out the HC600s? Well, that's because someone loaned me a vintage set. Lower that. Plug it in. These are Sennheiser, where's the model number? HD 565 Ovation. And they are damn close to HD600s. These are actually just so vintage that I can't even describe what's going on right now. They're actually light. It's weird to have a light clamp HE600 on. And it responds very well to a tube. Look, I can keep talking for 45 minutes about anything, and I'm trying to keep my videos shorter now. This is 2020, the year of Zeos being under 25 minutes of video. I hope I get there. If you're interested in this, I will link in the description. I want to thank the company for sending it to me. I probably have to pack it back up. Oh, there's an unboxing of this. I will link in the description. Zeos! Link it. Because the box this came in took me 6 minutes to enter. I can't even describe it. It was box, wrapped in saran wrap, wrapped in plastic edging, wrapped in plastic tape, then wrapped in saran wrap again. Like, it was the safest package I've ever received. They know how to protect their goods. It's got to come from Serbia. It probably has to survive getting sunk in a battleship or something. I'm done. I want to tell you more about, how does it sound, Zeos? We still don't know how it sounds. It's cost $1,700. If it wasn't worth it, I'd say, And you can get other amplifiers, other tube amplifiers. I'm going to link them in the description. But you know right the fuck away if you're investing in that. Even if it sounds just as good as some of those, this is the one you're going to buy. Do you agree? I mean, you could just pretty much stand any of them up and put a cutting board on the side and then have this exact same experience, but it's not the same experience. Anyway, I'm done with this. Before I talk myself out of a review. Oh, God. It's a sex machine. This is a sex machine, and I approve of it highly. That wallpaper, which is blindingly white, by the way, is available in the description. Feel free to crop that out, put it on your phone. You'll be dramatic. Links to this, links to the headphones I've used, links to some of the other headphones maybe I used. These got taken out for a short period of time because they're planar, and this thing was screaming about planar, and I'm like, yeah, you know what, I'll give it some planar action, and action it got. Kind of reminded me a little bit of the Rebel amp, which there's words to talk about that later. Check out the Patreon and Subscribestar. They fund these videos when it's not a piece of equipment donated to me. Actually, I'm pretty sure they want this back because I saved that box perfectly. So this will end up going back to Serbia. And when something else is coming down the pipes, if you want to support this channel, feed my cat and me, Patreon, Subscribestar, $5 tier. See these reviews early. Ask me any question you want on platform. Enter into the yard sales, which will ship internationally, as long as you pay half shipping. And the $10 tier is the private behind-the-scenes Telegram chat, which is fantastic if you're looking to spend money. Because those people, all 200 of them, will make you spend more money than I will make you spend. Which is, it's suicide, essentially. I'm telling you, that's a suicide channel. And the higher tiers, 15, 30, 75 on Subscribestar and above, those will soon have benefits that will be made violently clear in the future, where you are going to be able to... I thought there was a dot above the C. You will finally be able to try some of the headphones you've always wanted to try. I don't know if I'm pulling any off the wall for it, but let's just say there's going to be a box, a very, very slutty box that's going to get passed around to a lot of patrons. So that's that. Actually, probably multiple boxes. It's going to be like an orgy gangbang. It's going to be fantastic. Either way, I'm glad I said that in the company's review, because this is Z reviews and it just comes out, whatever comes out. I'm going to go back to listening to this now. I should probably mention also the fact that the DAC built into this sounds better than the Enog 2. The Enog 2 is amazing, but when I switched to the digital input, yeah, no, it's worth its cost. It's worth its cost to get a Serbian tube amp that's wrapped in wood and is also a classy as fuck headphone stand. I'll see you all tomorrow. Check out Hi-Fi Guides in the Hi-Fi Guide forum. And we'll see you next Exponent in August. August!